Neptune retrograde always signifies a time that's ideal for reflection and turning inward a bit. But in Aries, there's a certain edge to it. Aries is about identity, will, instinct, courage, and getting things started. So, this is an amazing time to explore your mindset, your inner truth, your desires, and Neptune retrograde in Aries is providing all of us with an opportunity to reconnect anywhere where we felt disconnected from our truth, from our soul. This is an amazing time to remove illusions and step into greater clarity and greater confidence. And this transit can help us align our lives more authentically with our soul's desires. So from July 4th through October 21st, 2025, Neptune will retrace its first steps into the first couple degrees of Aries here. So we see Neptune now at the time this chart is from July 7th, and Neptune is just at 2 degrees of Aries. So it's going to retrace those first couple degrees of Aries here and then dip back into Pisces for one last time. So this is a potent period, July through October, and it's really a transit unlike anything any of us have experienced before because Neptune in Aries is so new in our lifetime. Neptune hasn't been in Aries since the 1860s. So here are the top 7 questions to ask yourself during Neptune retrograde in Aries. And I prepared a little help with this for us. I'm going to count them down. So number 7, am I going after this because I want it or because I think I want it? You know, Aries can sort of give us this feeling to go for it. But Neptune is giving us an amazing reminder to ask why. Aries can really help us to step into our unique purpose. And this is something that we really worked on when the North Node was working through Aries for the last 18 months or so, certainly in 2024. That was a major theme, sort of stepping into our own unique voice, our own unique purpose, reminding ourselves of why we're here and why we do what we do. So something that you worked on there, and you might now be finding a way with it a little bit more. So finding that unique voice, finding that unique purpose, and then remembering to ask why with Neptune and Aries, making sure it's really what we want, making sure it's not the dream of another person, right? Sometimes we can sort of inherit dreams from others, or we can feel as though society has a certain expectation or dream for us. All of those things can shift at this time. Making sure that it's what you want, not just what you think you want. The number 6 question to ask yourself during this Neptune retrograde in Aries is, where did I move too fast? You know, during these first couple degrees of Aries, we may have been moving very quickly. Aries is very fast and sometimes starts things sort of just for the sake of starting things. But a sense of urgency is really, really different from a sense of clarity, and we might be able to sort of parse that out a little bit better right now. So during this period, Neptune is asking us to sort of slow down and go over any places or spaces where we may have been moving a little too quickly or acting on impulse. Now is a chance to revise that and to improve. So remember to slow down, because insight is so available to us during this time, during this Neptune retrograde, but it can be very hard to tune into that insight, that inner voice when we're moving too fast. So remember to slow down and think about where you've been moving too fast the last few months and what might need a little bit of revision. Okay, the top 5, the number 5 way. Number 5 question to ask yourself is, where do I feel overextended? Aries is very strong and values strength and values independence. And we've all been working with a Neptune and Aries energy for the last little bit, whether we are an Aries or not. We all have this in our chart. So during Neptune in these early degrees, especially in the early degrees, Aries is excited to take on new tasks and feels strong enough and ready to get going and independent. And we might have taken on more than we could really handle alone. We might have taken on more than was really fair. And this is a great time to think about that. And also to remember that getting stuff done and moving forward quickly takes strength, but so does being vulnerable. So does being vulnerable and saying where you're overextended, where you've taken on too much, and that you could use a little help. That's very strong as well. Okay, the top number 4 question that you could ask yourself during this Neptune retrograde is, have I been listening to intuition or have I been protecting my ego? Sometimes new ideas can light us up because they sort of feed our ego. And I think that listening to our intuition at this time is could be more helpful. Really at any time, but especially at this time. So, for example, if you receive a new job opportunity, you might feel really excited about it. And it might be interesting to just stop and ask yourself, is it the way other people are going to perceive this that's lighting me up? Is it about how I think this is going to be perceived? When really tapping into our own energy, our own intuition is the way to make decisions. We do tend to move very quickly in Aries, especially in those early degrees. So it's good to sort of think back on the last couple months and think about, since Neptune's been at this early degree, has there been any place where you've been acting from ego rather than from intuition? Because Neptune is all about intuition and the soul. And so this retrograde is a great time to sort of discern that and to right the course if need be. If you've been moving out of ego, but your intuition is telling you something different, this time period from July through October is really a period where you could right that course. Okay. Change directions and better align yourself with where you want to be. Okay, the number 3 question to ask yourself during Neptune retrograde is, what parts of my identity have I outgrown and can I let them go yet? Change can be very difficult, but Aries is all about getting us in touch with our true, authentic selves. And change is a lot easier when it's coming from that place. Neptune dissolves what no longer serves. And so this retrograde could be a really great time to sort of identify and let go of parts of your identity that are no longer aligned with where you are now. even if you've been carrying them for a particularly long time, even if it seems really hard to let go, even if that part of you goes pretty deep, now might be a great time to identify these outgrown parts of yourself and to just set them down and let them go. Okay, the number 2 question to ask yourself during this period is, what am I avoiding by staying busy? Aries loves to be busy, but Neptune is going to slow us down a little. Aries loves to go, to move, to get things started. And sometimes it might even encourage us to be sort of up for a struggle a little more than we should be. Big busyness and struggle actually aren't helpful or really great energies. And this Neptune retrograde can help us to sort of realize that. We can see where we've used action to distract ourselves from unresolved emotions. And Neptune can help us to slow down and consider where we might need to slow down and not rush past where we might need to slow down, what we might need to look at, rather than just rushing past it. And I think often these things can be emotional with Neptune retrograde. So that's something to think about during this time as well. And the number 1 question that you can ask yourself during Neptune retrograde is, who am I now? Neptune retrograde is a spiritual identity check, if nothing else. It asks us to consider, who am I now? Forgetting any armor that you've built up about yourself, forgetting anything in terms of ego or being a pleaser. When those things are set down, what is left? This Neptune retrograde transit can really help us to find out. I appreciate you for being here, for watching. Please check out the horoscopes on my channel. I think that you'd really enjoy them if you enjoyed this video. And I will link to some other relevant astrology here at the end as well. Enjoy this Neptune retrograde cycle.